A cheap semi-truck can be one of the most expensive mistakes in trucking. So before you buy one in 2026, here are 7 trucks I'd be very careful touching.
Number 7 is the Freightliner FLD 120 with the Detroit Series 60. Why it still makes financial sense is simple. Entry price.
You can still find working examples in the $8,000 to $18,000 range depending on condition. And the Detroit Series 60 is one of those engines that's understood well enough that you're not buying a total mystery. That matters, because cheap only helps if the truck is still diagnosable, serviceable, and not waiting to financially stab you the week after you buy it. The FLD 120 still makes sense as a low-entry trucking asset, but don't confuse low entry with low risk. Number 6 is the pre-emissions Volvo VNL, especially with the D12 or Series 60 setups. This is one of those trucks that makes more sense financially than it does emotionally. It's usually not the truck people brag about. It's the truck people quietly buy because the economics can still work. You're often getting into them below the insanity of newer truck pricing while avoiding a lot of the emissions-era complexity that turn maintenance into a second business. That's the appeal. Not prestige, not hype, just workable truck economics.
Number 5 is the Mack CH613 with the E7. This truck proves something a lot of buyers miss. The market does not always price durability correctly. Some trucks are expensive because they're loved. Some are expensive because they're fashionable. And some still make sense because not enough people are looking at them through a pure return on capital lens. That's where trucks like the CH613 stay interesting. Not because they're glamorous, because they can still be economically useful. And in trucking, useful pays better than glamorous. Number 4 is the International 9900i, especially with the right pre-EGR Cummins setup. This truck makes sense for the buyer who still wants a real long-haul truck without jumping straight into modern truck pricing insanity. But this is where discipline matters, because a truck like this can be a smart buy, or the cleanest way to set money on fire if you buy the wrong one. And that's the problem with truck ownership that people keep ignoring. You're not just buying a model. You're buying one exact unit with one exact maintenance history, one exact seller, one exact set of hidden problems. That is a very different risk than most buyers admit. Number 3 is the Kenworth W900 with the Cummins N14. This is where truck buying gets dangerous for a different reason. Not because the truck is bad, because the truck is desirable. And desirable trucks make people justify numbers they would never accept anywhere else.
The W900 can still make financial sense in the right situation, but once you move into trucks like this, you're not paying for utility alone anymore. You're paying for image. You're paying for reputation. You're paying for the emotional side of ownership. Nothing wrong with that, unless you're pretending it's purely a money decision. Number 2 is the Peterbilt 379 with the Cat 3406E. This is one of the clearest examples of a truck that can still make sense because the market trusts what it is. There's resale appeal, there's engine desirability, there's owner-operator demand, there's history behind it. But this is also where I need you to slow down, because a truck can be excellent and still fail the capital allocation test. If I put 50 grand, 80 grand, or 100 grand into trucking this year, I'm not just asking, do I like this truck? I'm asking, is this the hardest working use of that money? That question changed how I look at trucking completely. Number 1 is the truck that makes the whole problem obvious. Take a serious owner-operator purchase in 2026. A truck you actually want. A truck you'd be proud to own. A truck that still has earning power. By the time you buy it, prep it, insure it, register it, fix what the seller conveniently forgot to mention, and put reserve money behind it, you're not just buying a truck anymore. You're locking serious capital into one mechanical asset. Let's use $100,000 because that's where the conversation gets honest. What did that 100 grand actually buy you? One truck. One engine risk, one transmission risk, one downtime problem, one accident risk, one operator problem.
1 month where revenue goes soft and your capital is still stuck in the same piece of iron. And if that truck sits, your money sits with it.
That was the point where I stopped asking, what truck should I buy next? And started asking, what is the smartest way to make money from trucking without carrying the full weight of one truck by myself? That's the point where I started using SemiVest. I still wanted trucking exposure. I still wanted trucking cash flow. I still wanted my money working in this industry. What I didn't want was to keep forcing every trucking dollar I had through a single truck ownership problem. So instead of taking another full chunk of capital and tying it to one more truck outright, I moved part of that money into truck income plans on SemiVest. And once I compared the numbers side by side, it made a lot more sense than I expected. Let me show you the exact mental shift. Take $2,500. In direct truck ownership, $2,500 barely starts a conversation. That's not a truck. That's not a meaningful down payment. That's not even a serious repair reserve once a real problem shows up. But inside a truck income plan, that same $2,500 can actually be put to work. Take the fleet starter plan on SemiVest. One lot is $2,500. The target payout is 7% monthly over 12 months. So the simple math looks like this. $2,500 invested, about $175 estimated monthly payout. Over 12 months, that's $2,100 in projected payouts. And if principal returns at the end of term, that's $4,600 total back on one $2,500 lot.
Now compare that to what $2,500 usually does in truck ownership. It disappears into one repair, one maintenance reserve, one tire problem, one issue you didn't plan for. That contrast got my attention fast. Then I scaled the question up. What does $25,000 look like? At 10 lots, that's $1,750 estimated monthly payout, $21,000 in projected payouts over 12 months. And if principal comes back at maturity, $46,000 total back across the term on that $25,000 position. Now, compare that to taking $25,000 and forcing it into direct truck ownership. What'd you really buy? Maybe part of an older truck. Maybe a truck plus immediate repair risk. Maybe a truck that needs tires, maintenance, insurance, downtime reserves, and still has the power to surprise you at the worst possible moment. That's where the SemiVest logic clicked for me. I can still put money into trucking. I can still target trucking-linked income. But I don't have to personally absorb the full headache of one truck just to get that exposure. That's the difference. So yes, there's still semi-trucks that make financial sense in 2026. But that's not the only question anymore. The bigger question is this. Do you actually want to own the full truck problem? Or do you want your money working in trucking without carrying all of it yourself? That's the question that pushed me towards SemiVest. If you want to see the truck income plans I've been using instead of forcing more capital into direct ownership, go look at SemiVest and study the plan terms for yourself. And if you want more trucking videos built around money first, emotion second, subscribe.